Yeah, guys, what's going on? This is the Merc here, doing this podcast presentation from Talkback. Obviously, the website's still the same, talkbackworld.net. That's where the forums are, Talkback Senate. Anybody who's been a fan or a listener to these to the episodes will know what we're on about. Today's episode is basically I don't know whether you can call it a reaction, but this is just from the Merc. This isn't Have Hope, just a direct Merc insight input on the recent news of Alan Moore coming out. I think it was in the LA Times, and proclaiming his venom and hatred for the sort of for films as we know it, but specifically directed at the Zack Snyder's adaptation of Watchmen. Now, I'm trying to be serious here, guys, because as many of you guys know, Talkback listeners, myself, Have Hope, and Phantom of Hope have talked a lot, very angrily, about the adaptation of Watchmen as a movie against the wishes of the actual creator. Now, that's gladly, I'm very pleased now that the actual creator has spoken out categorically and expressed his distaste for what is going on. I feel it's time for me to actually come out and just, lay it down very short on why a lot of Watchmen fans are against this project. Now, we've obviously already seen The Dark Knight and the extremely amazing business that The Dark Knight has done. And these things are all very simple. It's just the way that you approach the comic book genre. And how you approach adapting these works. Now, we already know that Watchmen is regarded as the greatest comic book of all time. Some people call it a graphic novel, so it's not really a comic, but I call it a comic. It's got pictures, it's got, dialogue and bubbles and everything, so I call it a comic. Now, the mere fact that this thing is regarded as the most in-depth and detailed and sophisticated comic ever made, it would just follow logic that if you're going to give the likes of Batman, and Batman has never had an issue, whether you're talking about Arkham Asylum, Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween, whatever you want to call it, Killing Joke, it's never reached the levels of sophistication as Watchmen reached in any one of its 12 chapters. Now, if you're going to give Batman to Christopher Nolan, the man who made Memento, the man who made Insomnia, the man who made The Prestige, it would follow that you would then give Watchmen to somebody who had a like pedigree. So people have talked about, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 Zack Snyder's this, blah, blah, blah. Fact of the matter is, it doesn't make sense. And after seeing the trailer and looking at the direction in which this movie has gone and the fact that they're trying to condense it, even if you're condensing it into 3 hours, it's not long enough. 4 hours isn't long enough to do a movie of that kind. It is absolutely insane. That being said, the point that has annoyed me so much is that I don't want to go into the details of why this movie is ridiculous. We all know this. The debate's been raging on the internet for months as to the casting. You've got people like Malin Ackerman who can't act. Unfortunately, I don't want to go after any actors or anything or actresses. It's not fair because everybody's trying to earn their daily bread. But we've just got to be honest here that this lady, to be in a major movie, in a major role, anybody who's looked at this person's resume, it's ridiculous. When you're making casting choices like that for a movie of this stature, and the likes of Batman is casting Maggie Gyllenhaal, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Oscar-winning and Oscar-nominated actors, the guy who's actually gotten the less focus or the least career accolades is Christian Bale, and we all know how good Christian Bale is, but he's like the lowest pedigree in Batman. So if you're going to go on that level for that, to then turn and do Watchmen with the kind of cast we're seeing, it is absolutely insane. People have pointed to the fact that Kevin Smith has seen it and said it. So who's Kevin Smith? How has Kevin Smith's opinion somehow become the golden ticket to what the quality of a comic book movie is or isn't? Fine, I'm not saying I don't like Kevin Smith. I think he's a funny guy. He's a real fan and so on and so forth. But what has his opinion got to do with verifying the quality of a movie of this ilk? I'm sorry, people. That's not enough. Anyway, I already understand that, a lot of fans simply have to see a Watchmen movie. So it doesn't matter what's coming out, they just need to see it, so they'll defend it to the rafters. The issue that we have here is that what annoys me is when people attack Alan Moore. How can you be so short-sighted that a man who created the thing that you are such a fan of, you're actually attacking his decision that he does not want it made into a movie, much less someone like Zack Snyder making it into a movie? A man that Alan Moore has already said he hated 300, which I did as well, for its shallowness, its racism, and so forth. Is he not justified in stating that he does not want this person to turn his comic into a movie? Or in fact, his comic to be turned into a movie at all? For people to come out and call this guy, oh, he's a douchebag, he's grumpy, he's such a loser, he's so this, and in the same breath you're saying, I can't wait for the Watchmen movie, go Zack Snyder. What? It's insane. It's like, I go out and I take the trouble and time and all my creative juices or creative energies to create this product, and then the people who like this thing that I have created then dictate to me how I'm going to use it. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. How is a fan going to tell the creator that, okay, thank you for making this thing, now we're going to decide who's going to make this movie of your product, and if you say no, you're an idiot? It's crazy. It's his stuff. It's like George Lucas and Star Wars. No matter how much I think the prequels were crap, no matter how much I think the new Clone Wars cartoon is crap, I am in no place to tell George Lucas how to do or what to do with his own franchise. So all you guys out there who are jumping on Alan Moore's back, and the funny thing is that this guy has a valid reason for going against this project, a valid reason. And I just think it is absolutely ridiculous. And it actually belies the sort of drone-like mentality that fans have gotten themselves into, whereby a studio who's only interested in the greenery, the cha-ching, the stuff that goes into their pockets, the people who are only interested in that stuff are actually dictating to you what happens with your projects. I don't understand it. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, Dark Knight came out, it was fantastic, it was great, but that actually owes a lot more to Christopher Nolan and the cast and the filmmakers involved. Now, I just basically like to say that I understand how a lot of these fans feel, because they needed Alan Moore's verification, or just him to just shut up and not say anything, so they didn't have to look within themselves to realize the fact that they are riding a ship that the creator is not interested in. So when they see that credit reel, or when they see the greatest graphic novel of all time and they don't see Alan Moore's name on it, they have to acknowledge the fact that they're riding a ship that has no validation. There is no Watchmen movie if the creator doesn't sign off on it. It's something else. Zack Snyder's stuff isn't Watchmen, because if the creator doesn't sign off on it, it isn't what he intended. It isn't something that he believes is within the spirit of the work that he created. So unfortunately, people, you're just going to have to accept the fact that, listen, you can love this movie that's going to come out and love what blah, 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 blah. Fact of the matter is that it isn't the genuine article. Neither was V for Vendetta. No matter, I thought V for Vendetta was actually quite good. I didn't think it was bad, but I accept that it isn't the genuine article because Alan Moore has not signed off on it. So I just want to say I support Alan Moore fully in his stance, and I believe that if you're a real fan of this man's work, you would support him too. Bay out, Spielberg in.